Hey everybody, how are you? So good to see you. Happy Monday. We are now at the beginning of a new week and really close to the end of the month. Where did October go, right? But close to the end of the month, but we're at the beginning of a week, and I really hope that you're doing well. Hope that you and your families are good and safe in your part of the world. And as always, I'm just grateful that we get to spend some time together talking about data science, talking about our community, our mutual interests in algorithms and machine learning and everything that's involved in that. So thank you so much for being here. Really looking forward to spending some time with you today. For those of you that are new, I'm seeing at least one new person in my chat. We do ask people to introduce themselves. I refer to it as my global roll call, where I ask people to let us know their city, state, province, country. Just a really easy way for you to participate, keep the chat inclusive, keep everybody, building the community. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, we'd love to hear it. And then I also have an opening note. An opening note is something that I like to share with you, just kind of different things that are like different thoughts of mind or top of mind for me that maybe kind of spark some ideas or spark some thoughts for all of you. And then you can feel free to comment on it, or you can ask me questions or anything else you want. We can talk about anything you guys want, I really enjoyed last week because we had such philosophical discussions and different ideas that were floating around. So really, really happy to see that. Lots of really good stuff last week, a variety of stuff last week. So feel free to bring up anything you guys want, anything I can help you with. I know that a lot of new people have questions, so today is a good day for it because I really don't have an agenda for today. I like to start off Mondays in a very relaxed, very easy way, and then we can kind of ramp up throughout the week, right? So let's see how we can kind of get the day and get the week started here. So I'm already seeing some messages in my chat. Thank you so much. Again, if you're just joining us, we ask people to let us know their city, state, province, country, just as a way to introduce yourself, keep things professional, things along those lines. But as far as my opening note, there's so many different things that I want to share, different little ideas or different little thoughts. So I really don't know where to begin, but I was really happy with the Sunday class from yesterday. We went for 3 hours, but I think that we really did some very interesting data explorations that are going to be valuable, not just for our project and our series, but also because I think it's going to be something that all of us can learn from as far as how projects are actually done in the real world. So if you attended yesterday, thank you so much. I thought that was a really good session. You can also find it on my YouTube. You can find it in the stream archives, or a few days later, I usually release the edited version of the stream itself. But just a really good session yesterday. Really grateful for everyone that showed up. And that kind of makes me tired. Like I told you guys, those streams take a lot out of me personally. So I really just spent the rest of the day eating my soup, my Sunday soup. Watched a couple movies. I've fallen in love with the show Tulsa King, and on Paramount Plus they release the new episodes every Sunday. So Sunday, after I finish the stream, I get my soup, and then I turn on my Tulsa King, and nobody can talk to me during that time. I don't want to hear anything during that time. It's my time to decompress. So I did that yesterday. I got a phone call from a good friend yesterday who was telling me they were coming into town, and we made plans to go out. I spoke with my parents yesterday. I also made some dinner reservations because my dad asked me to come out to spend his birthday with them, so I'm gonna take my parents out for my dad's birthday. So just doing a lot of connections yesterday. Had a good time doing that yesterday. And then a second thought I wanted to share this morning. And this is a little bit more towards the opening note. I guess the first part was a little bit more of the personal side. But this morning I woke up to the Discord, and one of our great moderators, Rex, had made a great posting in the Discord about an article talking about statistics and data science and things along those lines. So it was a really great article, really good find. And the premise of the article, at least as how I understood it, and by the way, if you're not a member of the Discord, I encourage you to join. You can see the article there. But my takeaway from the article was talking about how statistics is the least important part of data science. And to some degree, that is true. Having solid modeling skills is probably one of the more important part of data science, right? Interpreting the results of models, knowing how to work different models. That's probably more important. I get that. But here's the part that I think the author was missing. And I already posted some initial thoughts in the Discord, but there's an additional portion that I think the author is missing. And something that I've been wanting to share, but I don't always have the right avenue for it. Because I have a lot of thoughts that maybe aren't a great video per se, but I kind of look for opportunities to share. And one of the things that I wanted to share was I talk about how it's really important for you to understand statistics, because so many people in the workplace, in a corporate environment, are going to approach you with, hey, I got a great data science idea. And I always talk about how you should be a filter to be able to say, yeah, that is a good data science idea, or no, that's not data science, but let me help you. And I've never really explained why you would need such a filter. Obviously, it's good to, be recognized as the subject matter expert on data science in your company, among your peers, among your colleagues, and that's certainly going to help you in a variety of different ways, right? But here's the thing that I've never really properly expressed. How many data science projects do you think your team is going to take on every year? We've talked about how, in a lot of my content, I've explained about how most people tend to overestimate the size of data science teams. Data science teams are not that big, right? I keep on saying that, right? I think the global average is probably 4 to 5 people, right? I've shared about how I'm friends with some directors and managing directors from, really around the world. Their teams are not that big, and they're working at large companies, right? So in turn, how many projects do you guys think a data science team takes on? It's probably a lot less than you think, right? So it's not only because the teams are small, it's also because you got to maintain those models, right? If you've done your job right, you developed a good model, you're giving value to the business, well, that model is going to live for a while, right? That model is going to need to be updated. It's going to need to have reinforcement learning. You're going to have to continually validate the results. You might have model review teams that require you to document it every year, right? You're going to have to monitor it for model degradation, right? That happens. Data changes over time. The models won't reply in the same way in year 3 as they did in year 1, right? That's going to happen. So you as a data science team might only take on 1, 2, maybe 3, sometimes 4 new models a year. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you're going to be doing a lot of maintenance, right? There's still a lot of work to do on other models. All the updates and the data tracking you're going to need to do. Just because you're only working on 2, 3 models a year doesn't mean you're not going to be busy, right? So just to clarify that. So that's one of the things that I think about that I just haven't probably expressed enough. That I think people might overestimate the number of projects that your entire team, remember, I'm talking on the team level, not just you, that your entire team is going to take on. It's really not nearly as many as you think it is. It's a lot of a data science team's work, especially over time, right? Because it just builds up. The inventory of your deployed in production models is just going to build up over time. Well, that just builds up your maintenance needs over time, right? Now that you finished the year, you deployed 2 new models. Well, those 2 new models are now part of next year's maintenance. So maybe this year you were maintaining 6 models. Now you got to maintain 8 models and work on whatever 2, 3, 4 new models you're going to do this year, right? So coming back to the article and statistics and all that, that's why being the filter is really important, because you might really only accept, in a year, you might only accept 5 ideas that you're going to accept for like scoping and, hey, this is something the team's going to look into. And then maybe 2, 3 of those will become viable models that you actually end up working with and deploying, right? So you really can't afford to have every single person that walks into the team room or walks by you with a great idea to take up the team's time. It's literally just not feasible, right? So I want you to think about that when you read those articles, when people say that about statistics or other parts of data science, or why would you need that? That's not really modeling. Well, you're probably not going to be doing as much modeling as you think. A lot of it is just kind of playing defense, as I would tell my teams, right? And, a lot of it falls into on my shoulders because, I'm in a team leadership position, a data executive position. But that's going to be something you're going to have to learn throughout your career. And again, being that filter does help establish you as the expert, which is a very positive thing for many aspects of your career. But I want you guys to keep that in mind, because I think it's really important. I think it's really key for a lot of your growth. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't really realize until they get out there into the corporate world as an actual data scientist. Okay? All right, so let's get to the introductions. I see a lot of my regulars, so thank you so much, guys, for being here. Really appreciate all of you. I'm also seeing some of you that were there yesterday during the 3-hour course, and you're still back today. You guys are animals. You're crazy. You're crazy. All right, so I'm seeing somebody on Twitch, Diggs. We always ask people to introduce themselves, so please let us know where you're from, okay? Fatima, our good friend Fatima from Meekness says, hi, sir. Hey, Fatima, how are you? Hope your Monday's off to a good start. Hope your family is doing well out there. But thanks for being here, Fatima. It's amazing that you're here after yesterday's 3 hours. So you're crazy, Fatima. You're crazy. Joseph, our good friend Joseph. Morning, Dennis. Hello from Tennessee. Hey, Joseph, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I see 3 moderators today: Joseph, Rex, and Leo. Thanks so much for being here, guys. Osama, our good friend from Setat, says, hello, sir. I hope everything is going well. Everything is going pretty good so far. It's a nice Monday out. We're going to do this stream, and then I'm going to go walking. I haven't decided, where I'm going to go walking. I like to change up my routes, try different places. But everything's going really well. Thanks for asking. Hope the same for you, Osama. Rex says, it's sunny and a beautiful day in NYC. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday to you too, Rex. Hope you're doing well. It sounds like you were doing a lot of reading this morning from the article you posted. It was a good find. Denilson says, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's staying safe. Denilson, I think we're doing pretty good. How are you doing out there in LA? Hope things are going well for you. But yeah, I think everyone is pretty much staying safe. Although it's hard for me to tell, right? Because sometimes I don't see people in the chat for a while. Every once in a while, I do wonder if everyone's okay. But, I certainly hope that for everyone. Manoj, our good friend Manoj. Good morning, Sir Dennis and everyone. Manoj from Bangalore, India. Thanks so much for being here, Manoj. I think you were there yesterday too. So thanks so much for coming back after 3 hours. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm exhausted after those streams. You guys are crazy for coming back. Leo says, good morning, everyone. Hey, Leo, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well out there in New York City. Rex, thank you for posting the Discord link. Really appreciate that. Manoj, namaste. Manoj from Bangalore. Thank you, Manoj. Namaste to you too. Sarvesh, our good friend Sarvesh says, hello all. Nice to see you, Sarvesh. Hope you're doing well. Rex, let me come back to your comment. Lakshmi says, morning, Dennis and all. Lakshmi, you were also there yesterday. I don't know how you guys do it. But welcome back, Lakshmi. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's session. I had a lot of fun with that session. But yeah, hope you and your family are good, Lakshmi. Leo says, well, it pays well. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, guys. So again, I'm really grateful for the moderators. Today we have Leo, Rex, and Joseph. Please give them a shout out. Please give them a follow. They really help me out. So, really appreciate their help and support. Pradeep, good morning. I think it's your first time here. Good morning. This is Pradeep from Florida. Welcome, Pradeep. Nice to have you. Thanks for introducing yourself. Really appreciate that. I have a question. Yeah, Pradeep, today's a good day for questions. There's no agenda. So I've already passed over a couple questions. I'm going to go to them first, but happy to answer your questions. Yeah. Osama, let me come back to your question after I finish the introductions, but I'm going to come back to it. Fatima says, we just enjoyed the class. It was good and useful. Yeah, thanks, Fatima. I thought it was useful too, Yeah, it's funny because I think that yesterday I also enjoyed it because you guys were suggesting some really good prompts, that kind of modifies my own thinking about prompts, right? Because, prompt engineering is kind of a skill, right? So I was really enjoying how some people are saying, oh yeah, well, what about this prompt? What about that prompt? Or making modifications. Because I can have my view on the prompts, but it's good to hear what all of you would say and say, yeah, here, what about this prompt? So I'm also learning in that respect, right? I'm also learning when I'm picking things up, working with all of you. So I really enjoyed it. So thanks so much for you and everybody else who participated. And also, it was basically your idea that we were fleshing out during the second half, right? The sentiment analysis. And I hope that you're also getting a sense, Fatima, for why you would do kind of like those mini scoping things, right? Because, yesterday I think we walked away with some really good ideas, right? We should be talking about the bias in the balance of the data sources, right? I think that's kind of like what we concluded yesterday, where you can't have too many financial sources or too many consumer sources. You got to balance that out too. That's a form of bias, right? You wouldn't have learned that if you just if the chief data scientist says, oh, okay, yeah, let's start with our project idea, and that's our project. Like, you got to scope things out. You got to feel it out. You got to develop your nose for the data, right? As I keep on saying. So yeah, so I think yesterday was very valuable. Wazi, I think this is your first time, so welcome. Thank you for introducing yourself. Good evening. This is Wasula. I think it's Wasula from Ghaziabad, India. I hope I'm pronouncing those right. If I'm not, please feel free to correct me. But welcome. Glad you're here. If there's any questions we can help you with, just let us know, okay? Lakshmi says, yes, yesterday's session was one of the best. Well, Lakshmi, they're all the best. At least to me they are. But yeah, yesterday was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun yesterday. So yeah, appreciate you, Lakshmi. Appreciate all the people that attended yesterday. All right. I know I skipped over a couple of questions, so let me go back. Okay, so, and if you have other questions, feel free to fill up my chat. Rex says, thank you for sharing your insights on that article. Yeah, it was a good article, Rex. It was a good article. Really great find. Rex, maybe you know the answer, but I couldn't quite get a sense for if the author was strictly an academic or not. I couldn't get a sense for whether they had real world experience or not. Because, that's another thing, right? A lot of those journals and, newspapers from universities type of things, they tend to be written by academics, right? And academics don't always have the best real world perspective. So in my reply to you, Rex, I tried to do that I try to make that difference, right? Where, yes, strictly speaking, it's not, statistics aren't going to help you for modeling and confusion matrices and interpretation. Yeah, I get that. But data science is a business. Data science is a practice. It's a business tool, right? So is statistics going to help you for the business of data science? Absolutely, right? It would be a mistake to ignore it, right? So yeah, it was a good find, but sometimes you do have to be a little bit careful about the academic side. Okay. So Rex says, yes, Andrew Gellman teaches at Columbia, but as far as I know, he also works for industry sometimes. Well, but Rex, even, I know that's common that professors do pick up like consulting jobs and things like that, right? Like, I get that. But even then, it's too high level, right? Like, I'm talking about people who get down into the weeds and actually work, right? Like, yeah, he probably gets picked up by companies, but on an outside third party consulting basis, right? Like, but I'm thinking, like, when's the last time he led a team of data scientists, right? You usually don't do that as a consultant, right? So I'm talking more like, like in the weeds, day to day, like leading multiple data scientists on multiple projects type of work. Most academics don't get that. They'll have some industry contacts and they'll go to the conferences and things like that. But I'm talking about like leading teams, leading people, that level of work. Such very few academics end up having that. So yeah, but maybe his background more than I do, because I this was the first time I had read any of his stuff. But again, guys, we're referring to an article on the Discord, so if you'd like to go check it out, it's a really good article that Rex posted. Interesting read, right? And as data scientists, it's important to keep up with those types of publications and industry news or whatever you want to call it. Super important to keep up with that. All right, so Osama says, sir, I have a question. ChatGPT is commonly used for EDA, but are there any privacy concerns? 100%. Absolutely, there are privacy concerns, right? Anytime you use a cloud service, not just ChatGPT or LLMs, anytime you use a cloud service, your privacy is at risk, right? So you have to be careful with that. And I'm saying that on a personal level, right? But on a corporate level, there are plenty of companies who have policies against using cloud services in general, and or using cloud services like LLMs. So yes, Osama, you might run into situations where a company or a client or something else would restrict you from using ChatGPT because of the risks, right? The risks that are posed out there because of that. So yeah, absolutely, Osama. You are spot on to think about that. For the projects and the tutorials that we do, I kind of suspend that disbelief, just to kind of keep the project going and help people understand the tools. But yes, on a practical basis, from day-to-day work in a company, you are always going to want to, verify that you're okay to use those tools. And in some cases, you might also be okay to use some data, but not other data, right? Like, you might be able to use LLMs for publicly available data, but you can't use it for like internal reports and internal documents, right? So sometimes it kind of might be like a little bit of a hybrid. So Osama, I can really appreciate you bringing up this question, because I'm somebody who has definitely, been privacy conscious in the past. But I still try to kind of keep up with different like leaks that I might have in my privacy and all that, because I'm sharing a personal bias here. Feel free to disagree with me. It's totally okay. But I'm generally pretty suspicious of cloud services. I try to minimize my use of cloud services as much as I can. And on a personal level, just as an example, right now I'm shopping around for a gimbal for my iPhone. You know how you have like those handheld like gimbals that hold the iPhone, and that way you can move your hand around but the iPhone stays steady, right? So I've been shopping around for one of those. The problem is that I can't find one that doesn't require them to use their camera app. I want to use my iPhone native camera app, the one made by Apple. But all of those gimbal manufacturers require you to use their own app. And I don't understand why. You could probably create the gimbal hardware interface without that, right? Why are you requiring me to switch my app? Like, things like that make me really suspicious sometimes, And I'm willing to accept that I'm kind of a pessimistic guy, right? I'm very suspicious of companies like that, right? Of any company with privacy concerns, right? So I can appreciate the question, Osama, because we really should all be more concerned about that, in our daily lives, right? So it's kind of hitting home with me because I'm still searching for one of these, devices that I can buy and not have to install another app, because where does the video go after that, right? Who knows? So, privacy is something that's near and dear to my heart, but unfortunately, there's always situations where it's kind of hard to avoid that, right? So let me know what you guys think about that, because I know that some people, have a different view on it. But let me know. Feel free to disagree with me. That's totally okay. But just kind of sharing some additional perspective from my side. Rahul, our good friend Rahul is here. Hello, how are you doing, Dennis? I'm doing great, Rahul. How are you? We haven't seen you in a little while. We missed you yesterday. We had a great session yesterday. So hope you're doing well. Rahul, I think last time you said that you were in the process of moving to Delhi, I believe. So let us know how that's going, okay? Leo says, Rahul, you're alive. Yeah, and we're happy that you're alive, Rahul. Glad to see you back. Thanks for coming back, my friend. Rex says, agrees. Sometimes I find these post articles useful, but my goal is to get my hands dirty and work in the industry. Well, Rex, I think you're on the right track. I know that you and I have talked about some of the studies you're doing, and the article you're posting, I think, was a really good quality article. You're a consistent viewer here, so just keep on coming back, my friend. I'm here to help you if you need anything. But I think you're on the right track, and I think all of us should aim to get out there, work with teams, work with projects, not just for your own reputation, but for the experience, right? I mean, how good of a data executive can you really be if you've never really had that in the trenches experience, right? You got to get out there. You got to, put the work in, and then that way that enables you to lead teams and be better, right? So I appreciate that that's what you want to do, Rex, and eventually, that'll lead to advancement and growth in your career, and we should all want that, right? And eventually, you'll become an old man. You'll get yourself an iPhone and a couple of lights, and then you'll start broadcasting on YouTube for the rest of your life. You're gonna end up like poor old me. This is where the data science dream ends, guys. You guys are at the beginning of your careers, but right here, this is where it ends. Oh man. Rahul says, still searching for jobs. Okay, Rahul, but keep your chin up, Rahul. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Are you searching in Delhi? Are you searching in your hometown? Let us know more, Rahul. We're here to help you, my friend. Everyone goes through tough job searches, right? Deadlift. Sorry, Rahul, I don't know what that means. Leo sending some positive encouragement to Rahul. We should all encourage each other, right? But yeah, Rahul, you're gonna be just fine. Just keep at it. Just keep at it. Khalif, our good friend Khalif. Good evening, Sir Dennis and everyone. Good evening to you too, Khalif. Hope you're doing well. I think you were there during the class yesterday, so thanks for coming back. Really appreciate your continued support, Khalif. Hello, Dennis. This is Alton from Sierra Leone. Nice. Welcome, Alton. Alton, I can't remember if it's your first time here. I think it is. So welcome. Really glad to have you. Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well out there in Sierra Leone. I get a couple of viewers from Sierra Leone. I know that's not a big country, but my analytics show that I get a few viewers from there, right? And I always love just the international variety of people that I get, because it speaks to the global interest in data science, right? And I know last week we had some great philosophical discussions about that. I think Leo was kicking us off with some discussions about how different governments take different views to data science, right? And how they want to deploy those resources. Some countries might have more data science resources than others, and I don't mean just people. I'm talking about the data centers, processing power, electricity, right? Electrical infrastructure is kind of important now if you want to run, GPU processors and whatnot. The ability to even get some GPU processors is also a key concern, right? But yeah, it's really, really encouraging to see the global interest in data science. So welcome, Alton. Glad you're here. Rahul says, yeah, I hope everything turns out to be great. Rahul, I like your positive attitude, right? We all have to have a positive attitude no matter what we're doing. So if you're having a positive outlook on your job search, I think it's gonna result in something pretty good for you, Rahul. So hang in there, my friend. Guys, I know that job searches are not always easy, right? I get a lot of questions on job searches. I get a lot of people sending me maybe not like requests for help, but they're just venting. They just want someone to talk to about how tough the job market is and things. And I get it. I'm empathetic to that, right? But hang in there, guys. You guys, you're showing a lot of interest in your growth by coming back here and by being part of a community, by wanting to increase your own knowledge, right? Which is all great. That's all positive stuff, right? So hang in there. Keep a positive attitude, right? Always do your best on every single interview that you do. Dress your best, stand up tall, use your manners, please, thank you, hello, good morning, how are you? And things will turn out good, okay, guys? Rex says, LOL. Yeah, I think you were talking about the retirement plans. Yeah, guys, if you guys have been wondering what happens for retirement for data scientists, you're looking at it right here. I mean, I sit with you guys. I redid my monitors. I bought a couple of lights, a couple of studio things. One day I'm going to give you guys a tour of my studio, but do some studio things. And then from there, you turn on your lights every day at 1500 GMT, you talk to a bunch of people, and then you go and you play golf. I mean, that's it. That's the semi-retirement of a data scientist. Oh man. But who knows? Who knows where this is all going? I'm going to be making some postings later about maybe some different changes or different things that I see coming up. And I kind of think about things in the bigger picture, right? Where my primary goal is to keep on talking with all of you, educating the world on data science. I'm going to be reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube pretty soon, and that's going to be a special moment. In January, I'm going to be bringing you guys some really cool content. So really looking forward to all of these different things. But if I'm being honest with you guys, there's also some like non-zero possibility that somebody would come along and offer me a director of data science position or a CTO position or a director of AI position, right? I still have a lot of contacts in the industry. I still have a lot of friends that, friends in high places and friends in low places. So there's like some non-zero possibility that I would also say, you know what, guys? The opportunity cost of not being a director of AI right now is just too high. And I might have to take a different route with the content and the channel and all that, right? So I really don't know if this is really what retirement looks like. All I know is that I'm having fun right now and that I'm really enjoying the global aspects of data science that I've been exposed to in the last few months. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe somebody's going to come along with an offer I can't refuse, right? So that's something that I also have to think about. But for now, this is what retirement or semi-retirement of a data scientist looks like. But we'll see where life leads. Life's a funny thing. Life's given me a lot of twists and turns that I've enjoyed. So who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. All right. Joseph is also laughing at the retirement. Hey, Joseph, this is where everybody ends up. This guy. Khalif, I love that Khalif and Manoj are making those connections on the chat. You know, we've had people connect for their masters. We have people find jobs because of the chat and all that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Charlotte Livia, welcome. I think it's your first time. I see that you just subscribed on Twitch, so thank you so much. You are our 101 follower, so we've broken the 100 mark on Twitch. But we ask people to let us know their city, state, province, country, and you're welcome to ask questions. Let me see. Rex, thank you for playing host over there on Twitch. Leo says we're the friends in low places. Hey, I didn't point any fingers, okay? But if you feel like that sentence applied to you, then maybe that says more about you than it does about me. I'm just saying. I didn't point fingers. I didn't name names. But, you know, if that resonated with you, Leo, then I don't know, Leo. Is there something you want to share with the group? Because, you know, I didn't name anything. But if you felt like that spoke to you. Okay, so Leo says, talking about privacy concerns, I'd support the idea of an open source model and running GPUs on cloud services for a company instead of using APIs. I think it would have better acceptance. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You know, and Leo, that's where I think we're headed, right? Where companies would use existing open source models. You know, and I've talked about this before, but I haven't talked about it in a while, right? But there's going to be a natural evolution. The first evolution is to just use ChatGPT as it is, right? Or Claude or whatever. I just like using ChatGPT as an example, but I'm referring to LLMs in general. Second evolution is to bring it in-house. Or, well, no, you can do this on a cloud server, right? The second evolution is to do your own fine-tuning, right? All of these companies have APIs that allow you to do fine-tuning, which is great. But that has a ceiling too, right? That has a ceiling from both a cloud perspective and a foundational model perspective, right? Because fine-tuning, you're not changing the foundational model. And then the third iteration, the third evolution, is more along about what you're describing. Where, well, I guess evolution 2.5 would be to bring in, to get away from the cloud side, right? You're still bringing in their foundational model, you're fine-tuning, but you're running it on local hardware, right? Like on-premise hardware. So that's like evolution 2.5. And then evolution 3.0 is companies doing their own foundational models from the ground up on-premise. Here's why I see it like that. Because in that process, Leo, you're going to have the ramp up that you need to build out your server hardware. Because to build your own foundational model is not something that is undertaken lightly, from either a data perspective or a like processing time perspective, right? Like never mind the cost, right? I'm not even talking about cost, but just in the data and processing time alone you're going to need, right? Because some of these models take months and months to train, right? Like we're no longer talking hours and days. You're gonna that infrastructure you don't build overnight, right? So in those evolutions that I'm talking about, there's also a ramp up in hardware that all of these companies are going to need. I mean, some companies, I suppose, would already have a good amount of the hardware in place, but a lot of them are not, right? Or at least, or maybe they may have a capable server room, but not the free hardware, right? All the hardware usage is already accounted for. Like you can't just say, oh yeah, we'll just shut down these servers and give it 100% to you guys, right? Most server rooms are at capacity, right? If not near capacity. But yeah, so let me know what you think about that, Leo. But that's my thoughts on it. But yeah, I think eventually it's going to be everybody saying, well, I don't want to use ChatGPT, but I do want to use their framework to build my own foundational model and then build off of that. So I love that you're thinking about these things, Leo. Sibia, you're back. Sibia here, representing South Africa, Midrand, South Africa. Nice, welcome back. You're becoming a consistent viewer now, so thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Hope you're doing well out there in South Africa. AJ, remind us where you're from, AJ. I know you joined yesterday, and I think yesterday was your first day, or maybe the day before, but good to see you again. Hi, Dennis. Could you share some of the most challenging problems you solved as a data scientist? Maybe. I mean, some stuff I don't like to talk about well, I never like to give specifics about clients and stuff. But here's the thing, AJ. When you're asking that question and when people are thinking about the potential answers I could give, you're expecting me to talk about a big model, right? You're expecting me to talk about some big training exercise or something else, right? But that's not the biggest challenge. The biggest problems, the biggest challenging problems from your question are almost always either people problems or resource problems. I mean, that's the truth, right? Like most of your work as a data scientist is going to be people problems or resource problems, or challenging problems, I should say, right? And again, that's one of the reasons I keep on stressing with everyone who watches my content, right? You can't be the math nerd. You can't be the code nerd, because in the grand scope of everything you're going to do, that's like less than 5%. And even then, you're going to ask ChatGPT for the answer, right? But most of the work you're going to do is really just dealing with people. Like, and don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to put any negative connotations on that. But it can be challenging. Just because it's challenging doesn't mean it's negative, right? And it can be time consuming, right? That's part of the part. That's part of what makes it challenging to begin with. So to kind of expand on that, I've had some evolutions of that in my career. So initially, because remember, I've been doing data science for a while now. And data science wasn't always popular, right? It wasn't nearly as understood as it is now. So, okay, AJ's shares are from Berlin. Okay, great. Welcome, AJ. So, for example, early in my career, there was a lot more resistance to data science models than there is now. There's still resistance now, but back then it was a lot harder. It was a lot harder because people just didn't know any better, right? People didn't know how to trust things, how to trust AI, how to trust machine learning, right? If you talk to them about generative AI or generative models, they had no idea what you were talking about. Now people have a better idea because you can point to ChatGPT. But back then it was like, a common problem for data scientists was that you would have a model, you would develop it, you would say, hey, we're ready to go. And at the last minute, the business would kill it because they basically got cold feet. They basically said, whoa, wait a minute. You want us to like stop everything we're doing and you're going to have a math formula tell us what to do? I don't know if I want that. Like that happened a lot. Like, like I think that you'd have to talk to somebody like my age or older to kind of relate to that. Because right now there's so much more acceptance of models, right? But back then, I mean, like, Netflix was still giving you like weird recommendations, and Gmail hadn't really perfected their spam filters. They still haven't, right? So back then it was still like, whoa, wait a minute, are you sure this is gonna work? Like, no, let's just kill this project, right? So that wasn't fun, right? Because you want to see your stuff deployed, right? Now, fast forward to like present day, there's challenges around resources a lot more, right? But it's still people, but resources a lot more. I mean, one, can you get the money and the funding? And two, even if you do get the money and the funding, can you physically get your hands on some GPUs, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Can you find the right people? Can you find the right trained people, right? What does a proper data science team look like in terms of structure and capabilities, right? That's not something that's already like established per se, right? So AJ, I know I'm giving you probably a longer answer than you expected, but it's the honest answer, right? The challenging problems for data scientists have nothing to do with models or neural networks or reading white papers or doing some math. I mean, the idiot influencers out there that tell you that's what it is have never worked a day in their lives. Because for me, like when I would finally have like 3 hours to just sit down and like work on code, that was like a relief. Like that was like the easy part of the day. You know what I mean? Like, because you're in meetings, you're having negotiations, you're having to do some hand-to-hand combat, so it's like what you think as far as like, oh, but they got to be writing all this complex code and like always deploying projects, and like that's the easy side. That's like 10% of your day, right? Like the challenging parts are always going to be the people and resources. I 100% guarantee you that. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. Sorry guys, I'm giving longer answers here because you guys are asking good questions, but yeah, the challenge of a data scientist is not what you think it is. Leo says, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, Leo, I see that evolution for LLMs. Yeah, I think it's also going to depend on the industries. Different industries are going to adopt it at different paces, right? Like, ironically, I think that the most restrictive industries out there, like your banking, your finance, your medical, your government contractors, like defense contractors, all those people are going to be the quickest ones to adopt that model because they can't deny the power of using Gen AI, right? They can't just tell their employees that you can't use ChatGPT forever, right? Like at some point that's going to become a liability. So yeah, Leo, I think it's going to progress on that, and I think that some of those companies are or should be more aggressive about it because you can't deny the power of what LLMs, Gen AI, and all that is going to be doing for all businesses. And if you don't do it, your competitors will, right? So yeah, it's good stuff to think about for sure. You guys have been coming strong with the questions. I think it's been a pretty good Monday as far as like the nice, easy approach, dealing into the work week and all that good stuff. Harpreet says, I'm Harpy from Canada, Toronto. Cool, welcome. Hope you're doing well out there. I hear Toronto's a beautiful city. I heard it's an expensive city. Hi Dennis, what programming languages do you work with? Mostly Python. I think most data science nowadays is being done with Python. Obviously there's still going to be some R aficionados out there, and R has its place. I get it. But mostly Python. Yeah. So, especially now with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is also pretty well versed in Python. But yeah, that's the quick answer, Harpreet or Harpy. Anything else we can help you with, let us know. But thanks for introducing yourself. Glad to have you here. I am Karthi from Chennai, India. Nice. Welcome, Karthi. I think you were here. I think you were there yesterday during the chat. I apologize for not answering your question yesterday. But I think one of the moderators told you that on Sundays I usually don't take questions. But Harpy says, what's your take on AI in industrial IoT field? So that's a pretty broad question. Are you able to narrow that down for me? Because when you say industrial, that can mean a lot of things, right? Like, are you talking about like energy plants, about commodity processors, about manufacturers, about recyclers? Like narrow it down for me, right? Because industrial is a little bit too broad, right? But I think it's, but you know what? Even if, I guess even if you were to narrow it down for me, a lot of the work, a lot of the advancements, I guess you could say, not just to the industry level, but also kind of like the company level, really depends on the people and how they view themselves and how they view AI and how they view their industry too, right? So, give me just a sec. FMCG sector handling with real-time data. I'm sorry, what is FMCG? Sorry, I don't know that sector, or maybe somebody else can tell me. But I don't know what FMCG is. But here, Karthi, look. I know it's one of your first times attending, and I appreciate you. But look, there's not always a straight answer to these types of questions, right? So I want you to think about this a little bit on a meta level, right? Like, what's the next level up for this? And I would propose to you that it also depends on how the company sees themselves and sees the industry, right? No matter what company we're talking about, right? I shared this with my moderators recently because I've been thinking a lot about this recently. There is a lot to be said for competition in an industry and recognizing when that competition has reached parity. There are many industries, many companies, many situations out there where basically all the companies are the same, right? They're equally competitive. The industry has matured enough where the sales models are known, the manufacturing techniques are known, and basically everyone's at the same level, right? Like every company is generally equal to one another, right? That's how I'm defining parity. Or even think about it in sports, right? Where you can have sports where all the athletes are good, right? Where things are won, prize money, medals, whatever, are won by hundreds, sometimes even thousands of seconds, right? So we can stand back and be amazed by that, but it really just means that it's parity, that everybody's equally good. So that means that if you are in that type of industry, everything your company is doing is like level 1, because you're just doing things to meet the standard, right? But who ends up winning, who ends up like actually surviving and doing well in the long run is a lottery. If you're at parity, then it's a lottery, right? If you're watching a sport where people win by thousands of a second, then anybody can win, right? You win one day, the other guy wins the next day. We don't think of it that way, right? It's not human nature to think of it that way, because you can still say, well, I still won. Well, but you could have lost. You could have just as easily. It was a thousandth of a second, right? So here's the thing. A lot of people don't see themselves that way, don't see their company or their industry that way, right? So if one of these companies, fast-moving consumer goods, thank you for that, Manoj. If one of those companies doesn't see themselves that way, or doesn't evaluate their industry on that level, then who cares, right? Just let them be, because they're going to win or lose by randomness anyways, right? They're going to win one year, the other guy's going to win next year, and that's that. And the years they lose, they're going to say, oh, well, we'll get them next year, right? But it's all randomness if you're at that parity level, right? So why do I think about this? Because that's where the opportunities for algorithms lie, right? Because how do you break that parity? How do you no longer play that lottery? You don't play that lottery by having things that you can actively point to and say, my competitors are not doing X, but we are. And we have the numbers, the data, the algorithm, the model, whatever, to prove that this can give us an advantage, right? If you don't have that, then you're just playing the lottery. Everything you've done is just bringing you up to the standard. The standard that's set by the industry, right? Or whatever field you're playing in. Again, this could be sports, this could be your studies, this could be companies and any number of industries. It doesn't matter, right? But that's why I think about this, right? Because let's assume that your fast-moving goods sector that you're talking about is at parity, right? Then that makes the use of algorithms super critical for any company. And the first one to use them will probably win, or at least set a new standard, right? But if you're not willing to do that, if you're not able to do that, or quite frankly, if you don't see yourself doing that, then you're going to say, oh, what do I need algorithms for? I was top sales last year. Well, yeah, but the other guy could have been top sales last year too, right? But again, people don't think this way, right? I mean, this is kind of like the one of the premises to the book, Fooled by Randomness, right? By Nassim Taleb. If you guys don't know that book, you should, right? So Karthi, that's what I would tell you, right? That it doesn't matter what industry you're looking at or what sector you're looking at. It depends on how the company views itself and views the competitors and the space that they play in overall. Because the reality is that most of us, most industries, most things that you do, or most sports you see or whatever, they're usually at parity, right? There's usually some evenness there, right? I want you to think about that the next time you see like a competition on TV where, somebody wins by thousandths of a second or even hundreds of a second. You can't even blink in a thousandth of a second. It takes you longer to blink. So is that really like a definitive dominant win? No, the next year the other guy will win, right? So think about that, right? That's really where the use of algorithms has the greatest opportunity. Fast-moving consumer goods, Sibia is defining as beverages, food, household goods. Okay, well, I mean, that's probably an industry that's at parity to me, right? I mean, right now, without looking, can you tell me the brand of your toaster that's sitting in your kitchen? Or can you name the brand of of the microwave that's sitting in your kitchen? You probably can't, right? Who cares? It's a microwave, right? That's parity. One day you bought one microwave, the next day you'll give your sales to another company. Who cares, right? So I'm not putting myself there as an expert in this industry, in this segment. But again, I like to think of things on a meta level, right? So if you apply that type of thinking about the competition, about where companies are at with each other, when they're even, that's when the algorithmic opportunities apply. So I get it. That was a little out there, right? But this is how I think about things, right? I also kind of share these things, and the reason why I've developed this mindset is because this is what a consultant has to do, right? If any of you have desires to go into the consulting industry, you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to be flexible in the companies that you work with, the industries that you work in, right? So you can't really get too caught up in fast-moving consumer goods. You have to get caught up in business and be able to view from a higher perspective, right? So that's what I think. Let me know. For some of you, I know you're going to be sitting there like, what is this guy talking about? But just giving you guys a different perspective. All right, so AJ asked, do you think AGI being solved in the next 5 years, according to current estimates, will have a huge negative impact on the job market? So great question, AJ. And I actually disagree with both. I think it'll be solved in less than 5 years, and I don't think it's going to have a huge negative impact. I think it's going to change the way we work, but that's not necessarily a negative impact, right? So I think it'll be solved 3 years max. 2 would not surprise me, right? And then impact on the job market. Why does it have to be negative? People are always assuming negativity. I think the biggest impact, agent, is that it will speed up our work. Your deadlines will be much faster, right? But I don't think that it's going to be a negative impact. Yeah, so I actually disagree on both of those points, Aja. But ironically, when you put both of my views together, I'm actually taking a very positive view about it. I think it's going to happen very fast, and I think it's going to be a net positive, or at least not necessarily negative. It's either going to be neutral or a net positive. I don't think it's always going to be a negative thing. Having said that, the most prepared person wins, right? That's one of the reasons why I always encourage us to use ChatGPT, because you should be out there prepping now to be a really good prompt engineer and really know the AI tools inside and out. So the time to get ready is now if you think it's going to be a negative impact. Khalif says, sir, could you please share any fascinating data science project you did in the health sector? That you worked on in the health sector. So that's a tricky question, Khalif, because health data, health items, you really can't talk a lot about. But yeah, I did a contract for a biotech firm that specialized in women's health. And I really enjoyed that one because, and I don't want to get into specifics because they were working in a controversial, a little bit of a controversial area. But that taught me a lot about how to run a study, how to collect results, how to interpret results. Taught me about NLP. It taught me about the pharmaceutical industry. Taught me about social media. And it taught me about like just the general health issues that this biotech was studying, and it made me like really empathetic to their focus and some of the women's health issues that are out there. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there. But yeah, I've done some interesting projects overall in my career, but that one was pretty cool. yeah, that's all. That's all I really want to say about that one. But yeah, but when it comes to the health sector, there's always interesting stuff to work on. You have to be careful, about the privacy concerns and the laws that are around that. But yeah, I mean, working on something like that was really interesting. So Karthi says, got it. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, Karthi, I know I'm giving you a little bit of a different answer there, right? But like I said, if you want to relay it to your individual industry, your niche, can most people name the brand of microwave that they have? Can most people tell you the last beverage that they drank, and that they chose it for like some allegiance to that beverage? No. You chose the beverage because it was on sale, because it was a happy hour special at the bar, right? So those are all industries to me that are equal, right? Like those industries are like could greatly benefit from algorithms, from AI, from machine learning, because then they can point to and say, yes, we're in a competitive industry, but we are doing this, and this that no one else is doing that's going to give us an advantage, right? Things get easy. We ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, province, and all that stuff, please, okay? But guys, great discussion today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the time we spent together. Again, please go ahead and check out the article that Rex posted on our Discord. Really good article. Really enjoy seeing people who keep up with the industry publications, right? That's really important in your career, guys. Can't stress that enough. You got to keep up with the industry publications, and be a part of the industry. Be a professional in the industry, not just a coding guy working in Python all day, right? Excuse me, I apologize. So thank you so much for the time we spent together. Get some rest. I can't believe some of you are still here after yesterday's long session, but get some rest. I'm also going to be making some postings on Discord a little later today about my scheduling coming up, different thoughts that I have, so look out for that. But really appreciate all of you, and as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.